Graceworks, I've kind of done what I call the trifecta. I've volunteered there. I've gotten a basket of food, and they paid for my electric bill one time. And then I worked for them. So I've sort of made the rounds there, and it's a wonderful organization. I really want to thank you. What you're doing tonight, just by being here, is leaving a legacy. You're helping me in the future. I'm going to tell you a little story about... And this is really, I shouldn't be here tonight. Everyone has a reason why. Perhaps they had a close call in life. But for me, I had a killer after me. And the killer was the man in the mirror. It was me. I tried to commit suicide through some situation I was in. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I got nervous about telling the story after I realized we got a couple judges and sheriff right in front. Then I realized it was over 7 years ago, so the statute of limitation, I believe, kicks in. And I moved to Nashville in 1995 to be a musician. I moved here with a dream like so many other people. And I got a job in a music company as a computer operator. And I hated the job. I called it my Homer Simpson job. All I did was just sit there all night, watch all these computer monitors, and if something went wrong, then I would call someone to fix it. At that time, I thought it'd be a great idea to live the American dream and buy a house. Now, I was foolish enough to buy the house, and the bank was foolish enough to give me the money for it. And it was a lot of money. So I bought a house I couldn't afford, working a job I hated. And from there, I went on. I quit the job I hated, and I got another job I hated. I was collecting delinquent cell phone accounts. Do you realize what it's like to call somebody and say, "Hi, your phone bill is $900. We're going to cut off your only means of communication if you don't send us in a payment." Can you imagine what they say to you all day long? 8 hours a day, 30 calls a day? Well, that finally wore me out, and I said, well, I moved here to pursue music. So I'm going to quit this job, and a friend of mine told me he could get me some out-of-state gigs, and I'll go and play music. Great plan. I didn't plan it. I just said, hey, that sounds good. And away I went. And some of the gigs were out of town, and I didn't have the gas money to go to them, and quite frankly, some of the gigs I didn't go because I got drunk, and I didn't make it. And I found out that they don't pay you for the gigs you don't show up for. At least that's been my experience. Well, the other problem with my plan was, now I'm a musician without a girlfriend, so there's no one to pay the mortgage. The bank sent me a very nice letter, and they said, "Dear Sutton, please send us our money or give us our home back." Well, I didn't have the money, so they sent me another letter and said, "Your home is going to be foreclosed. We're selling it on the Maury County steps." Well, this was 2004. I'd never known anyone in my whole life that had a foreclosure. I mean, this is before the big wave hit, when it became, popular and it was happening with everyone. I felt like such a loser, and there's just nothing I could do to stop it. So it was a Saturday night. I played this gig, and then I sat out the rest of the night around the bonfire drinking beer. I pulled into my house on Sunday morning. It was about 6 a.m., beautiful fall morning with the fog coming up. And I pulled into my driveway and shut the garage door. And I walked into my kitchen, and I was supposed to sing at church that morning at 11. Trust me, I was filled with the Spirit, but the wrong type of spirit. I knew I wasn't going to make it, and I felt bad about that. Then I saw the foreclosure letter sitting on my stove. I thought, oh, this is going down tomorrow. I mean, have you ever saw the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? That was my life at that time, but it wasn't a good day I was reliving. Every day was the same terrible way. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I thought, am I going to go through 20 more years of this terrible day? Do I have to just repeat this day for the rest of my life? I thought, if that's my future, I don't want no part of it. So I checked my refrigerator for beer. It was out. And I checked the freezer for weed. That's where, we keep it. But it was out. So I just walked down into my garage, and I started my car, and I let it run. And I figured I'll just, I can get out of this pain by just falling asleep. Now, carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless gas, and it will kill you. However, I had a gold 1989 Dodge Dynasty with 245,000 miles on it. It burned 2 quarts of oil with every tank of gas. If you've ever been out in the Midwest and you saw a crop duster flying over crops and letting out all that smoke, I mean, that's what my car looked like going down the road. I pulled up to Wendy's one time when it was like that, through the drive-thru, and the lady opened up the window and she said, "What's on fire?" And I said, "It's my car." So that's what happened. The whole garage filled up with this white, oily smoke. And it was horrible to breathe, and I thought, I'm not even getting any tired. I mean, I'm fully wide awake. So I said, it would be easier to go into my bedroom and sleep than try to kill myself this way. And I said, that's it. So I turned the car off, I opened up the garage door, then I started praying. I said, "Lord, please don't let the neighbors call the fire department thinking my house is on fire." I mean, how do you explain that? And then I went to sleep. 3 months later, the sheriff showed up at my door with 2 men with black hefty bags. And they cleared everything in my place out and put it on the street corner. And I had nowhere to go. And, really I put myself in that position. 3 months prior to that, from the time it was foreclosed to the time they showed up at my place, I figured I couldn't do nothing to get out of the situation. I felt hopeless, but, I just drank every day. Just figured, kind of ease the pain some. And so that day I drove away, and I thought, I'll stay at Henry Horton State Park. It's $7 a night. I was doing some odd jobs, but they're closed in the wintertime, so I didn't know where to go. My drinking buddy said I could stay on their couch, but that's what I wanted to get away from. So I thought, maybe I could spend one night in my car at the Paytonsville Road truck stop. It should be a safe place, right? So I pulled in first, and I pulled in the back and spent the first night there. And I decided, either my life has to change, or I need to go ahead and just end it. Because this isn't working. This obviously isn't working. So I got into a 12-step program, and one of the steps, step 3, we turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. And I found mentors to help me, a guy named Larry A. and a retired Orthodox minister named Father Gordon Walker. This guy was magical. He taught me one of the greatest lessons of my life. One morning we were in this, it was a Bible study we called the Drunks Bible Study, or the Bloody Knees group, because we fall down, we get back up. Fall down, get back up. And we just share our experience on a Bible verse. And one morning it was a verse that Paul said to be grateful for everything. And Father Gordon explained that you should be grateful for the good things in life as well as the bad. Because sometimes the bad things turn out good, and sometimes the good things turn out bad, don't they? So just be grateful for it. And if you can't find anything to be grateful for, just be grateful for God's love and mercy and needing His care and love. So I thought, I can do that. So that night I sat in my car and I said, "Thank you, God, for a roof over my head, even though it's a sunroof. Thank you for running water, even though I have to run across the truck stop parking lot to get it. Thank you for the bathrooms I get to use and I never have to clean them." The irony is, now I own a cleaning company, so I'm cleaning them all the time. I'm making up for lost time. And I went from there. I would go to the Concord Recreation Center. I could pay $3, work out, take a shower, and get a cup of coffee. And I started finding things to be grateful for. I mean, I took it to extreme limits. And it's a wonderful thing to do. I decided, hey, the world's my home, right? The highway's just my hallway. I have a library. Donald Trump probably has a beautiful library on his house, but he has to pay taxes and staff, and he has to work all the time, and he doesn't have time to enjoy it. I go to the Brentwood Library, or the Williamson County Library. I got several libraries. Bathrooms, Bill Gates has a lot of bathrooms in his house, but geez, I've probably got 15 bathrooms in downtown Franklin alone. There's Starbucks, there's Puckett's, there's Sweet Cece's, and I don't have to pay for the toilet paper or nothing in the place. It's just incredible. And I took that attitude. I'd walk around Radnor Lake during the day and think, I used to work a job I hate, trying to pay for a house I couldn't afford, wishing I could do what I'm doing now. Now I'm in my car, and I'm just loving the day. So it was just that change in attitude that made a big difference in my life. One morning I woke up, and there was